welcome back to Good Enough Garage. Today will be the first episode of my review series. I'll be reviewing my 2023 Z900. I've had this for about a year and a half, put about 30, almost a little less than 3,200 miles on it so far. I gotta say, it's a really good bike. I enjoy it. The linear power, it doesn't get too crazy. So yeah, I cut the bread box off and took the exhaust off as well, so it's pretty much just straight piped from the headers, but I left the O2 sensor so I didn't have to get it tuned at the moment, and so it runs fine. But I do plan on getting a full exhaust and everything. Before we jump on the road, do want to go through, this bike has several different rider modes. It's got sport is what it's on, is what I normally ride around on. Then it also has road, which is full power and I think traction control number 2. Sport is full power and traction control on 1. And then rain, you have, I believe it's cut down to like 55 or 60 power, so 60% power with traction control at 3. And then you have your rider mode, which you can change your power and your traction control to 0 if you want, but we're just going to probably keep it at the sport mode. So let's go ahead, get all ready, get the gloves on, and get it started. It won't be a cold start because we've been riding for a little bit. Let's turn the cardo on, so that way if we have any issues, then I know not to leave Toby there behind. But yeah, this is my second ever bike that I've owned. I owned a Ninja 400 to begin with. I owned it for about a year or so, and then I was kind of wanting to upgrade, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted. I wanted a ZX6R, but those were just crazy expensive at the time, and I'm sure they're still expensive. And then I sat on this, and I like the ergonomics of it. You're not sitting like super down or anything like that, and you're not like sitting like super far down like on a sport bike you would. You sit more up straight or straighter, and really don't have much back pain or anything. Obviously, if you ride for like an extended period of time, your butt will start hurting, and I've had that, but it's usually whenever we ride like 45 minutes or so, and it just starts to kind of wear on you. But I've heard that you can flip the like grommets under the seat, and that helps a little bit. I have yet to do that because it's really never been that big of an issue, but I have looked at some other seats, so I may get I think it's called a Corbin seat, so I may get one of those and see how that improves everything. Weather seems to be getting better, but yeah. So this has, I believe, a 4.5 gallon tank, I believe. Is it 4.5 or 3.5? But I'm pretty sure it's 4. And I've made it to Atlanta on one tank, and then I obviously filled up, made it back. And one of our other friends has a MT10, and I think he had to fill up about halfway due to probably just him hauling ass everywhere. But we will be taking this on popular bike road where I live, so we may witness some other bikers, we may not. We may witness some slow traffic and whatnot. We could get lucky, I don't know. It depends on how it is. Today is July 4th, so it is a holiday. Most people are gonna be, you know, having fun on their toys today. Weather's decent. It's not super hot. It is hot, but not like it has been the past few days where it's been almost 100. I do really enjoy the weight of this bike. It's not super heavy. It's, I think, under 500 pounds. I think it's like 467. I believe it weighs more than the MT-09. I would have to double check that. But these came out in 2017 and took the place of the Z900. And it's the flagship Z series bike alongside the ZH2, and I believe these MSRP at around 11 if I'm not mistaken, maybe below. I'll put it around here somewhere if it's less. This is the ABS version. I believe it's the Z900 SE ABS. They advertise at like 125 is the horsepower. So it's not too terrible. I forget what the torque number is. Again, I'll post it up here. But I think comparative to the MT-09, I think the MT-09 is a 3.5 liter gas tank. I believe the power might be a little less. I think the weight is less. I think the compression ratio on this bike is more. I think it's 11.8 to 1. I think the MT-09 is a 11.6, but I also think it's a 3 liter. I need a, not 3 liter, a 3 cylinder. So I'd have to double check all of that. So I'm not spreading misinformation, but this is a super just chill bike. It takes corners really well. Kind of just stays planted. But I was looking at the Triumph Street Triple R before I bought this bike. But I went and sat on one at a dealership, and I really enjoyed the feeling of it, like the ergonomics of it and seating position. The bike felt really comfortable. And then the dealer that had the Street Triple R sold it, so I kind of explored other options. And I really enjoyed Kawasaki because I had the Ninja to begin with. And so I just decided to stick with the Kawasaki. I really enjoyed the design of the bike as well. Kind of more aggressive look to it. It was never really, there was a lot of like Z900 RS's, and I imagine that bike rides are about the same as this, but for like a, I guess a more fun bike or whatever you want to call it. I didn't really want a cafe style bike, so that is why I went with this one. They had about like I think 3 or 4 at the time at the dealership that I bought this one at. But they only had one of these, and apparently people have been trying to find it. They also had a ZH2, and a part of me wanted to swap over and just jump straight to the ZH2, but maybe one day we'll get there, and I can have my ZH2. I kind of read on these bikes was that everyone, it seemed like a lot of people had issues with, like, I guess ghost neutrals or whatever. I've never really had that issue. It might have only happened once or twice where I've downshifted and it put it in neutral by accident. But I read where it seemed like they had a lot of issues with it. I've never had that issue, so I'm not exactly sure if they fixed that issue with the 2023s, but stop sign coming up, otherwise it's probably past it. I've always enjoyed the 4-cylinder sound of the street bikes, so that was another thing that sold me on this bike, was just the sound of it. I make sure to most of the time look up sound clips of the bikes, because I always like the sound of them. They sound kind of like almost like an F1 car, but it's that super high pitched, high revving 4-cylinder sound. It's always great. But I do also like the sound of like the R1s and the MT10s. Kind of have like a little bit of like a reminiscent of a V8. The bike, see, it feels pretty planted in the corners. Took that at an undisclosed speed, but it felt super planted. Didn't really feel like I was gonna low side or anything. Maybe I wasn't going fast enough, who knows. I'm not exactly sure what tires are on it. I have to look, but they are the stock tires. I think they might be Michelin something, but I also could be wrong. But these tires feel super planted. I don't really know what tires I'm going to go with after or once these need to be replaced. I may do my friend has a tire on his bike that's like harder in the middle and softer on the sides. So I may go with that. He seems to enjoy it. But I think I'll be reviewing his bike as well, so I can kind of see how I feel on those tires and see if it's something that I would really want. I will say the only issue I guess I've had with the bike, which really was kind of self-inflicted, was we went on a camping trip on the bikes, and it hit the windshield. That's an exciting first video. I'll have to assess the damage when we get where we're going. Well, I can confirm that the Z900 can hit a bird and it not be that big of a deal. So if you ever decide to hit a bird, there's that. I completely forget. I mean, I can see where it is right there. But oh yeah, what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by that buzzard, was that I stood up on a peg to take a bump that I had run over it earlier, and it didn't feel too good on my butt. So I stood up on my pegs. Probably shouldn't have done that, and the peg broke. But luckily the dealer warrantied it out, and we are back riding. But for a weekend I had to ride without a peg on my my shifting foot on the left side, so I kind of had to just rest it by the swing arm. But it was a good trip overall. Hopefully we can do more of that. Maybe go on take y'all on some longer camping trips. To ride on the weekends. Usually if you get out here in the morning, there's a big group of like R1s and R6s and stuff that like to haul ass down this road. But this is about the like go-to riding spot for a lot of bikers in our area. And you can travel like a couple hours north and run the mountains and stuff, but most people don't have the time to do that every weekend. This is about as good as we get where we're at. As you see, there's bikers. There's also a policey man, so hopefully we don't get pulled over. But a lot of people must be out today for them to have cops in here. Usually they don't ever have cops sitting on this road, which is kind of surprising to put, since this is a pretty big biker road and some people hit some crazy speeds going up and down this road. Like most people ride from where the city that I live down to this gas station at the end of the route, and it's just usually like a big biker spot, which I'm sure once we get there there'll be a decent amount of bikes. This will probably be for the most part the road that I'll do reviews on, because you can kind of get a bit of everything. There's bumps, there's decent turns here and there, and it's about a 30-minute ride. Obviously I'll cut down the video as far as me not speaking and whatnot. But so you can kind of see how the comfort level will be riding. So I think this will be a pretty good test route. Surprisingly, there's no bikers. All right, let's assess the damage that the bird did to the bike. Yeah, some scuff, but we'll be all right. All right, this is the end of the video, so I'll give my grading scores on it. I'll say the comfort is probably a B level. The seat can probably fix that. That is about my biggest gripe about it. So B, if you fix a seat, I think it'll be an A overall. Fuel efficiency, I think, to me, is probably an A, just because it can ride about 2 hours and be fine about 2 or 3 hours on like a tank of gas, like 100 and something miles. I think it's pretty good. Ergonomics, again, probably a B, because I guess it depends on your preference. I probably would do that. I would probably be fine sitting straight up, but I guess maybe if you had a more relaxed sitting position, then it would probably be an A. But I think overall handling is, to me, an A. Again, I can revisit it once I ride a lot more bikes. But to me, handling is an A. So I think overall, the bike could probably be classified as a B plus or A minus for me personally. So this is just me. And the price point is not bad. Around, I think you can get lower options for maybe 10, 11 to 12 on the higher end. So I don't think it's bad for a naked bike. But yeah, that would be my grading score on this bike. Let me know in the comments what you think, if there's anything else I can do to change to make this video a little bit better. And remember to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and always remember, you are good enough. Thank you for watching Good Enough Garage.